In Foodie's video yesterday, she started up a discussion about Crumbl brownies. Specifically, she was really surprised about the macronutrients for the new brownie sundae. In this video, let's see what she has to say, address some of her questions, and I'll end up with a story time.
I was watching this fitness guy, like fitness guru, I can't remember his name, on TikTok. I was scrolling. And he was like telling people to F off because if they eat Crumbl cookies. He was saying that there's this new Crumbl cookie brownie that has 70 grams of fat and 110 grams of sugar.
So here are the macronutrients for that brownie. It has 1,130 calories, 70 grams of fat, 640 milligrams of sodium, 140 grams of carbs, 110 grams of which are sugar, and 15 grams of protein. Now remember, this is for the entire brownie.
1,100 calories for one brownie. That should be, honestly, that should be like endangerment, like some foods. That's crazy. That's dangerous.
Okay, you know what, Foodie? I'm really glad you used those words, because it is dangerous. Here are the macronutrients for that brownie again, the one that really shocked you. And guess what this is? These are the macronutrients for that Godiva chocolate cheesecake you got in Bangkok. As you can see, it had more calories, more fat, less sodium, slightly fewer carbohydrates and less sugar, and the same amount of protein. And this is one of the big themes of my channel, that what you eat directly affects how you feel and your overall health.
And how many grams of sugar are you supposed to have a day? Like, what's the standard recommended, like 6 grams? Oh my gosh.
You know what? I'm really glad that she used those words because here's an actual answer. According to the Dasman Diabetes Institute over in Kuwait, patients can try starting out with 130 grams of carbs per day. This is considered a relatively low-carb plan for patients who are newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes until they can see a dietitian. Now remember, Foodie does not just have type 2 diabetes. She has a whole host of other comorbidities and other guidelines from her doctor. For example, she was told to avoid excess sodium, excess fat, red meat. She was told to eat more vegetables, avoid processed carbs, and this was all back in 2023. If you watch my channel regularly, then you know that I put this note at the bottom of my macro summaries. A big part of the reason why I do this is because, honestly, we all eat out at one point or another, and I think this information is interesting. If you go back through my comments, you'll see people saying, "Oh no, I just had that pasta," or "Oh no, I love that cheesecake." These numbers apply to all of us, not just Foodie. But going back to her original question, she really needs to go to the dietitian to learn what goals should be in each of these columns.
They would tell you that in the classes. See, that's the problem I'm having though. Even like organizing myself to make the appointment, and just doing everything is just overwhelming for me. I need to write down a plan. If I don't write down tasks and when to do them, I just won't do them.
Now, before I go, I wanted to have a very brief discussion about consequences. For those of you who don't know, I feel very strongly about this. My own dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes later in life, in his late 70s. And my mom and I helped him come back from that diagnosis, and now he's got it under control. If you follow me on Twitter, then you know that he was hospitalized this summer, and I went down to go see how he's doing. Because, bottom line, you don't mess around with type 2 diabetes. For the story I'm about to tell you, I have the full permission of my friend, who we'll call Anna, and her mom, who we'll call Maria. This situation happened just a couple of weeks ago, and they're still actively going through it. One of the most common questions I get after we talk about Foodie's diabetes is, why hasn't she been hospitalized yet? If her blood sugar is almost 300, why is she still at home? And the answer is because for her, that isn't really all that bad. My friend Anna came to me because she knew about the situation with my dad, and she let me know that her mom had been hospitalized. After a couple of days of being lethargic and staying in bed longer than usual, Maria, her mom, who was considered pre-diabetic at the time, went to an urgent care clinic. There, they took her blood and discovered that her blood glucose level was over 900. That's right, over 900. By this point, she was talking nonsense. It was clear that she was approaching a diabetic coma state, and so she was transferred to a hospital. In the ICU, Maria was treated for HHS. You may recall that this is something Dr. X talked about a while back. This is what happens when a type 2 diabetic has really high blood sugars, generally over 600, for long periods of time. Now, I'm happy to report that Maria's treatment worked, and she has since been placed on insulin, both daily and pre-meal, and some oral medications as well. Now, clearly, Maria's case is like a worst-case scenario, but this is where Foodie's headed if she doesn't make changes. Anna and I talk almost daily about how it worked for my dad, different meals that we tried, different shortcuts he could take, anything that'll make this easier for her mom. And that's the thing, that's the difficult part about type 2 diabetes. You really have to change how you eat and how you monitor your everyday life. If you're wondering how things got so bad with Maria, it was because of something of a language barrier. Her PCP had her diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and she was just on metformin. She wasn't instructed about how to test her blood sugar at all. She wasn't really given concrete guidelines on what to do, and in the end, things just got worse. When you put off doctor's appointments, when you don't follow up, time happens to just keep on going by. In Maria's case, she was really lucky that they caught it in time. Now, how she manages after this, it remains to be seen, but at least we're working on it. But in Foodie's case, when she hasn't even booked the classes yet to get the education that she so sorely needs, it's really disturbing. After all, she's the one who comes online and shares her whole life, including all of these meals. So listen again to her excuses. And then drop me a line in the comments and let me know what you think about all of this. I'd love to hear from you.
They would tell you that in the classes. See, that's the problem I'm having though. Even like organizing myself to make the appointment, and just doing everything is just overwhelming for me. I need to write down a plan. If I don't write down tasks and when to do them, I just won't do them.